o'clock. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
If confirmed, it would be the honor of a lifetime to serve alongside the Chief Justice and 7 Associate Justices.
The political stakes on Capitol Hill this week couldn't be greater as senators hear directly from President Trump's Supreme Court pick, Amy Coney Barrett. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Today's controversial nomination hearing kicked off just 22 days before the election. Democrats have argued the committee should wait on this, but Republicans have pressed on. As ABC's Faith Aubrey reports, the two sides didn't waste any time going after each other.
Senator Lindsey Graham, chair of the Judiciary Committee, opening day one of the Supreme Court confirmation hearing, acknowledging what Democrats have feared. This is the beginning of a confirmation, not a consideration.
This is probably not about persuading each other unless something really dramatic happens. All Republicans will vote yes and all Democrats will vote no.
Yet still, Senate Democrats seizing the spotlight, focusing on what they say is at stake if Judge Amy Coney Barrett makes it onto the U.S. Supreme Court.
And they're scared, Judge Barrett. They're scared that your confirmation would rip from them the very health care protections.
Democrats using their opening remarks to highlight some of the millions who stand to lose coverage if the Affordable Care Act on the court docket a week after the election is struck down.
Our voting rights are at stake. The right to a safe and legal abortion is at stake.
Republicans firing back, arguing judges should not make policy, but rather make decisions only based on law.
You stand accused of intending to violate your oath before you even take it.
GOP Senator Tom Tillis encouraging Barrett to stay strong through what's expected to be a contentious 4 days of hearings.
Rely on your faith. I know that you're an inspiration to millions of young women in this country.
Justice Scalia taught me more than just law. He was devoted to his family, resolute in his beliefs, and fearless of criticism. And as I embarked on my own legal career, I resolved to maintain that same perspective.
With voters already casting ballots in the presidential election, Democrats lashing out on the timing.
The whole thing, just like Trump, is an irresponsible botch.
There's nothing unconstitutional about this process.
Judge Barrett did bring her children with her today, and if she's confirmed, she would be the first mother of school-age children on the U.S. Supreme Court. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
And we will continue streaming the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing for Judge Barrett tomorrow morning. You can watch it on our website, 10news.com, our free app, or your favorite streaming device.
And turning now to our weather. Get ready for another hot week. Temperatures across San Diego County are expected to soar. And with people still working and learning from home, that could take a toll on energy bills. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala explains how SDG&E is responding to the problem with solutions.
We're dealing with some unusual and extreme situations this year given the COVID-19 pandemic and also extreme temperatures.
It's hot outside and many families are cranking on the AC while working from home using lights and computers all hours of the day. During this pandemic, you may have noticed an increase in energy usage on your electricity bill.
Look at conserving energy when you can. I know that's easier said than done.
SDG&E Communications Manager Jessica Packard says the key to bringing down that bill is to avoid energy usage between 4 and 9 p.m. This time spent working from home can also come in handy.
If you are home working, try to maybe run the dishwasher during your lunchtime or during the day when you normally wouldn't because you'd be in the office.
In an effort to help during this pandemic, SDG&E has suspended service disconnections for those who can't pay their utility bill. They're also offering flexible payment plans, and people who qualify based on annual household income can sign up for state and federal programs for discounts on monthly energy bills.
And we're offering a lot of customer programs and assistant programs to help them get through these difficult times.
A heat advisory will be in effect for the coast and valleys from 11 a.m. Tuesday through 5 p.m. Friday. The hot and dry conditions are causing fire concerns to grow locally. Firefighters asking everyone to avoid doing anything that can spark a fire. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
The heat is expected to be felt from the inland valleys to the coast. ABC 10 News weathercaster Leah Pizzetti is tracking these numbers live from home. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kim. Yeah, and just like we heard from Mimi, you may want to turn the AC on that week or this week. I know I'm someone who likes to avoid the AC, but this is a week that you may need a little bit of relief because temperatures are going to be hot. We do have a heat advisory that begins tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. It continues until Friday at 5 p.m. Everywhere in that orange, our coastal, our inland communities, everybody is going to be feeling that heat and is going to be under that heat advisory through the week. And you can see why. Temperatures have already started to warm into today, and they're going to continue to warm into tomorrow. So you can see on average, we're tracking 5, 10, 15 degrees warmer than where we were at this time yesterday. And heading into tomorrow, same thing. It's going to be another warm up, and it's going to persist through the week. I'll break down just how long this heat will last coming up in just a bit.
Leah, thank you. Now to the latest on the coronavirus here in the county. 195 new cases were reported today. That brings the total now to 50,746. No new deaths were reported, which is usually the case on Monday, so that number remains at 826.
That he was always a really loving, caring, very affectionate, respectful man.
A South Bay family mourning the loss of a beloved grandfather after a long battle with COVID-19. As our 10 News reporter Michael Chen tells us, his wife says she's lost her soulmate and angel.
Salvador Munoz first started feeling sick in early August, developing a cough and fever, then testing positive for COVID-19. About 10 days later, an ambulance rushed him to a hospital.
Couldn't really, speak. Short on his breath.
His daughter-in-law Vanessa and his wife Bertha says he was admitted, and a week later he was placed on a ventilator.
Complications and things were getting better again. It was just an emotional roller coaster for everybody.
Salvador developed complications with his kidney and then his heart after 45 days in the ICU.
He was definitely a fighter. He knew what he was fighting for.
Salvador Munoz, a father of 5 and grandfather of 7, passed away at the age of 68.
So she said that it's been really, really hard.
Loved ones say Salvador, who owned his own cleaning business, was energetic and joyful.
He'd be the first one dancing. He lived for putting smiles on everybody's faces.
Bertha tells us she was with Salvador for more than 50 years and never spent a day apart.
He was always a really loving, caring, very affectionate. That he's an angel.
Bertha is not sure how he contracted the virus. They rarely went out and wore masks. She has this message for others.
It's a serious thing, and to take care of yourselves and not to take it for granted that nothing would happen to you, because it could.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Can feel her pain. Wow. Bertha also developed symptoms but felt better after about 2 weeks. A GoFundMe campaign has been set up to help that family. There is a link on our homepage at 10news.com. Jury selection starts tomorrow for the first criminal trial at San Diego Superior Court since March. Those trials, of course, they have been on hold because of the pandemic. The court system has put new safety measures in place for those jurors. That includes dramatically limiting the number of potential jurors summoned. As ABC 10 News reported just last month, there's now a backlog of thousands of cases that the courts will need to handle.
Governor Gavin Newsom says California has made major progress in making COVID tests more available. But he also says that's only one part of the solution for controlling the spread of coronavirus.
Testing for testing's sake is not in and of itself significant, save the patient that can learn about their own health and health risk. From a community spread and a transmission perspective, we need to make sure we go further than that. And that's the contact tracing, that's the education, Know Your Rights campaign, among many other efforts that we've advanced through PSAs that will allow people the support so they can isolate, they can quarantine, not only taking care of themselves, but their own recovery, but mitigating the spread to people they love.
Newsom says in the next few weeks he will reveal details of a new partnership that will double California's testing capacity. President Trump is back on the campaign trail hours after the White House doctors sent a memo saying the president is no longer contagious for COVID-19.
I went through it. Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women.
He spoke within the last hour at a rally in Florida. And as ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports, there will be no changes to the safety protocols at his rallies.
For the first time since testing positive for COVID-19, President Trump holding a rally in the critical battleground state of Florida. His diagnosis putting a renewed spotlight on the virus in the closing weeks of this election as he looks to distance himself from a pandemic still raging in parts of the country, cases increasing in at least 32 states and the District of Columbia. And despite his positive test results some 10 days ago, President Trump is declaring himself completely cured despite not providing medical evidence, telling Fox News,
"It looks like I'm immune for, I don't know, maybe a long time, or maybe a short time. It could be a lifetime. Nobody really knows, but I'm immune."
Twitter also slapping a warning label on the president's claim that he can't get the virus and can't give it, saying the tweet contained misleading and potentially harmful information. Meanwhile, the White House says there will be no changes to safety protocols at upcoming Trump rallies, despite the recent positive COVID cases in and around the White House and from people attending his campaign rallies.
We will have the same policies that we've had in place.
Those words follow a Saturday event at the White House featuring Trump supporters, many wearing masks, but packed in shoulder to shoulder with no social distancing. Trump's opponent Joe Biden pouncing on the president, calling his messaging on the virus careless.
As a consequence to his months of overwhelming lying, misleading, and irresponsible action on the part of Donald Trump, how many empty chairs were around your breakfast table this morning? And why? Because of negligence.
The pandemic could be a deciding factor for voters. A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows a majority of registered voters distrust what President Trump says about the virus, and 2/3 say he failed to take appropriate precautions. And while President Trump continues to opt for big rallies, including the one in Florida tonight, Joe Biden is campaigning through crucial battleground states in much smaller settings. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Just hours ago, the White House doctors said the president has tested negative for COVID for consecutive days, going on to say the president is not contagious at this time. And looking more at the new ABC Washington Post poll, it now shows Joe Biden with a 12-point lead nationally among likely voters. Biden's lead with women is now 23 points. If that holds, it would be the widest margin in an election since Jimmy Carter beat Gerald Ford in 1976. One bright spot for the president, 54% approve of his handling of the economy. A big day on Wall Street as U.S. stocks rose sharply. Two factors sent stocks up. Tech shares outperformed while investors monitored stimulus negotiations in Washington. The Dow Jones gained 250 points to close just under 29,000. The Nasdaq went up almost 300 points and S&P rose 57 points.
The mother of late Arizona Senator John McCain has passed away. Roberta McCain was 108 years old. She was frequently seen on the campaign trail when her son sought the presidency back in 2008. She remained active well into her 90s. A cause of death was not released. Her son, John, died at the age of 81 from brain cancer back in 2018.